Welcome to the Adobo Collection podcast. I'm your host, Steffi. In today's episode, we feature one of the most respected leaders in the global corporate world. She is a clinical operations manager, a writer, a mentor, and someone who has made it her life's mission to help people evolve in becoming their personal best. An interesting fact about our speaker is she was also born and raised in Baguio City. And she is a big fan of BTS. Joining me today is Adobo Collection's Marco and Mary, and of course, our very special guest, Miss Coleen Picart. All right. So, Marco, by the way, we are cousins. Kaming tatlo.
Yeah.
Magpipinsan
So,
kami,
yeah.
kaya magkakakilala kami.
So we'll get you into the family and give you and make you our anointed cousin. Para yun. So we'll
Thank
adopt you na lang into the family first, no? So Marco was drinking milk. I'm drinking wine. So tita, no? So wala wine na Sunday.
I drank Milo kanina, like
Oh.
before this.
Oh
Like
my God.
Milo.
I'm doing
No,
zero alcohol beer.
Yeah.
Well, I don't drink, but life is short, so I'm a little bit of tipsy to start the podcast is never a wrong thing. According to Steve Jobs, no, you have to stay hungry and stay foolish. So just me living up to the legend's advice is me staying a little foolish today.
Okay. Marco and I has been sober for a long time na, no? Pwede na a few weeks. No, Marco a few
Yeah,
weeks. Ako,
2 weeks, 2 weeks.
last last
2
time
weeks,
I
okay.
drank, I think was New Year. I cannot drink anymore. I get drunk very fast.
Yeah.
So, cheers. Let's all drink gatas.
But I really don't drink, no. I really don't drink. It's just now that I found out, no, that this wine was on sale. It's buy two one free. We were supposed to bring it home for the holidays. So I bought 3 bottles. So I have to some degree I have to finish it up. I don't think I'm gonna buy more. And that and I'm kidding myself that this is a lot of probiotics that will help in good digestion. So there.
Eh,
Yeah, very
ate,
good.
Marco is also a nurse pala.
Oh, Marco, fermented. It's good. Stay foolish and it will be good for your health.
Okay, so let's start. You ready?
Yep.
This is the first episode na mag-video on kami. We don't really show our faces.
Yeah. Well, every time
Good.
that I talk to my team, I like showing my face so that way people know that I'm smiling at them.
Mhm. That makes sense.
That's also one thing that we should start doing. I
Mhm.
don't know because we just started with no videos, so
Mhm.
and we just kept on doing that. But I think
Mhm.
for this year we should start doing this as we can also like have instead of listening to verbal cues, then we can at least see each other. It's better,
Mhm.
more connection with the
Exactly.
participants. So we'll start
Yeah.
doing this even though we'll not show it, or maybe some of it. Maybe we can
Yeah.
use some of the clips as snippets.
Yeah.
So
Oh my
yeah,
gosh, I'm too close.
Yeah. Hit
Okay.
the like and subscribe to my channel. And don't forget to comment down below. YouTube na.
Oh,
No?
okay, so let us begin. Thank you for joining us today, Colleen. It feels awkward calling you Colleen. I'll call you Miss Colleen na lang. Okay, so
That is so awkward. I just want you to eliminate barriers so that way you're comfortable to ask questions. No?
okay, sige. Thank you for joining us today, Colleen. Okay, so my first question for you today, since we're talking about pursuing your best life, what is the most important attitude to embrace to succeed?
Yes, very good. No, when you read through a lot of books, if there's one virtue, and I learned about that. Not I've learned about that all my life, but my actual practice and embracing that virtue was 2 years back when I got promoted, and I'm still building on it today. It's humility. Um, Humility is the beginning point of all learning. You've got to enter into your aspiration, because there's three phases in your life. You have the aspiration phase, where you have your dreams. No, this is who I want to become. Mary wants to become a lawyer, right? And then you get into, this is from the ego as the enemy. No, you get to the success phase. So now, once you've aspired and worked for it, you get to the success phase. No, um, and the pursuit of success is not just, I succeeded and that's it. You have to maintain your success. Now, it's not enough that you pursued it and succeeded once. You don't want to be that, like Gangnam, who just sold, who just got the break of one song. You want to keep, making songs, no? So, and the last is, rising above failure, because as you pursue your life, there, as you go through life, success is a series of a little failure here and there, diba? So that's an endless loop. And to be able to get through the aspiration, success, and the failure phase, no, you want to keep a learner's mindset during the aspiration phase, so that way you learn everything from anybody. No, you learn from the boss, you learn from your managers, you learn from your parents. No, it's letting yourself, you submit to being led and being guided, fully guided. It's obedience, not to the experts, that you don't know anything. You come with an empty cup and say that, okay, lead me through this. No, and that obedience, that submission to some degree will eliminate barriers for you. You will eventually create your own path. Now, when you get to your success phase, once you've succeeded, it's still humility. You need to be gracious to succeed, because a lot of people have succeeded, but they've not been able to maintain that success, because not the ang sabi nga lang in championships, no, the biggest detriment to your next championship was your last trophy. That's when your success gets into your ego, and you feel that I have arrived. I've done it. So hindi ka na makikinig, you don't put in the work, you no longer practice, hindi ka na nakikinig. That's the time that you failed, no? And then as you go through it, hindi ka naman perfect, you'll fall down. So it's when you're failing, it's humility also that will enable you to start over. That you're not too proud to say, I've made a mistake. Let me check what I did wrong, and then let me learn from it, and let me get back up again. So if there's one thing to start with, no, if I were to teach, no, anybody, it's humility. That's the biggest piece. You agree? No.
Yes. Yes, very much.
But
Thank
Yeah.
it's
Oh, what? Go
yeah,
ahead, Marco.
humility is, yeah, it's picturesque ba. That value is, it sounds good. It's so nice to have it, but it's one of the hardest thing to have with you as well, right? So it's really hard to be in that state, if you might call it, uh enlightened with humility in that particular um context. Pero yun nga, how would you, how were you able to, reach this particular state of being
Humility.
humble, and yeah.
Okay. So again, there are two things that will change your life, Marco. Great question. It is the books that you read and the people that you associate with. So I will not credit anything to my personal awakening. So when there's a book that I read, it's The New Earth by Eckhart Tolle. What he does is he explains and breaks down the ego, and he teaches you to let go of the ego. And that is my first path to humility. It's really being able to understand the book. The It has taught me that ego is ego doesn't give you anything. It doesn't. All it gives you is a defense upon. It's defensive. It doesn't teach you. It's all very self-centered, no? When you talk about ego, but when you start silencing the ego part in you, um that begins the journey of humility. So for I read the book, and the book spoke to me like 5 years ago, and it did not resonate. So there's always a perfect timing to develop that virtue. When I encountered it again, it finally resonated. I understood it. So what I did was I put a sticky note in one of my in my office, and I would really get reminded, and I would uh be very aware that it was, and I was intentional about it, that I would want. I prayed for humility first. No, I would. This is a verse that I would always repeat in the Bible. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. And that was something that I kept repeating to myself. It's the two. So this year, 2021. Now I don't set New Year's resolutions. I call it my New Year's evolution. I evolved. No, and part of that evolution is to seek a virtue that I want to make sure that I have, and humility and temperance. I want to be humble, and I want to be temperate. So humility is one of the virtues that I'm building on again today, to make sure that I'm still on the right track. So daily, when I sleep at night, I meditate twice daily, once in the morning and once in the evening. So my nighttime meditation is just affirming that, looking back, when were the times that I wasn't humble, and doing the self correction, and now making sure that I start my day with a vision of who I want to become, and that is humility. So I start my day intentionally and purposeful of living that virtue in me, and I remind myself throughout the day to make sure that I'm humble. Anytime that my ego takes over, I stop and I reflect, and I make sure that I do not talk to people. This way that I can process things on my own first before I am able to interact and affect others. There.
Thank you, Miss Colleen. Wow, very well said. I do have a question in reference to the things that you do daily. Aside from we're talking about the things that you do, meditating, for example. What are the other things that one should do on a daily basis?
So first, no, I encourage you guys, if you can't do meditation, at least start doing your deep breathing exercises when you wake up and before you sleep. No, Kobe Bryant is one of his success principles is to do meditation. He teaches that. Phil Jackson, of the coach of the LA Lakers, teaches that to his team. Starbucks, Google, and Harvard. Really, there's a lot of research with meditation. So if you can't do that, no, I suggest you start with deep breathing exercises, 20 breaths in the morning and 20 breaths at night. Set up a calendar that when you wake up, so practically automate my life to make sure that I do the important stuff, high value stuff that I do. So I meditate on a daily basis. I've I exercise on a daily basis. So you, an extraordinary person, really allots time for uh you fuel your fire daily. So there's emotional, there's physical, there's spiritual, there's social connection. So by the time my days end, in the morning when I have my breakfast, I make sure that I connect with my family. So there's really no specific one and done things that you can do every day. But the stoicism teaches this. No, it's Marcus Aurelius is one of the one of the most powerful men on earth, but he's driven by rituals. So what you need to do is, Atomic Habits also speak this by James Clear. When you set up processes for yourself for the day, make sure those processes are high value tasks that will add to your future self. Now, it's what physical thing can you do daily, what so mindfulness or meditation is one that will help me gain clarity. Second, obviously I have to do my 5,000 steps to make sure that I'm healthy. I do my reading for growth. I connect with the people so that way I nourish my soul. And then I pray for my divine and spiritual connection. And then and in between I just do my best. So that I've so you so routines and rituals are ancient wisdom taught by stoicism and Buddhists, no? What they do is they make sure that you develop a successful routine, no? Some I've heard of CEOs that they really take a cold shower, they wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning, they meditate, but no, Bill Gates, no, sorry, I don't know if that's Bill Gates, but he washes the dishes at every night. So those things, you might want to create a daily routine that you adhere to every day, so that will fuel your fire, your spiritual fire, your mental fire, your physical fire, your renewal fire, and everything else.
Mhm. I agree. And I think that if we have like a fixed routine or like a habit that we track or not exactly track, but it makes it easier for us, right?
Mm. Yep.
And I've read the book Atomic Habits and I've also learned a lot from it. So I think I can definitely agree with you.
Yep. So remember what Atomic Habits said, no? You focus on the process, the system, and the outcome. Because Bill Walsh, who was able to turn around a poor performing football team, I think, and make them win the championship, it's because he focused on the processes and not the outcomes. That is what it teaches us. So you don't focus on your net worth. You don't focus on your outcome, your results. You just keep focusing on doing the most important stuff daily, the stuff that will add value to you, the high value stuff, and do it daily. Do your best, and that is what will make you achieve your personal best.
Well said, well said. Do you guys want to ask any questions?
None for me, but yeah, I really like what I'm hearing. Kasi, yeah, you started out with humility and then followed it up with stoicism, and it's really for me, it's uh, stoic practices is really supported, or the base of it is humility. And you were mentioning a while back about Kobe Bryant and Phil Jackson, and this is, I don't know if it's, yeah, it's coincidence. Just I was just listening 3 or 4 days ago, um, the podcast 10% Happiness with Dan Harris, and he was talking to George Mumford, the mindfulness coach of Lakers and Michael Jordan and all of these people. And then he was asked, uh, like, how do you deal with these people? They have the huge, the biggest egos in this world, and then you will teach them mindfulness. All right. So yeah, it's, I think he also said something about humility in the context of that, and make them show it to them. It's really good. There's an episode with, yeah, George Mumford, the meditation coach of those people, Michael Jordan.
Wow.
Yeah,
I'll
that's
watch that. So thank you for sharing that to me. That's interesting.
yep.
Yes, I think part I did get into meditation, particularly because the pandemic hit me really hard. It was hard from the start, and I had a hard time transitioning from running a team on site to virtual teams. So it was harder communicating. Therefore, there were some parts of me that I did not like along the way. I was prone to emotional outbursts, no, and I didn't want to affect my team negatively. And in my quest for how do I make sure that I become a better leader and serve them better, the answers came to me. God provides you the answers, no, along the way. And meditation was a huge answer to me. It was a real answer, and that right now I'm able to I I'm more temperate. I think I have more clarity. It really is, no. So you're more productive, you're more focused, you make lesser mistakes when you start meditation, but the full benefits are achieved when you do 20 minutes daily. It's hard to start. I started with 5 minutes daily, but then now I'm able to upgrade to 40 minutes. Sometimes I do an hour when I wake up a little early.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
But just a side question though, when you started working in a global company, before that, you were not yet, you haven't reached this certain level of success yet, right?
No.
Oh, how was the transition for you?
Um. So yeah, I had two failed businesses. When I moved to Manila, I only had 5,000 pesos. So think about it now. I had to, and you get you're paid after a month of work. So I started that. But prior to that, when the business that I was running failed, it was very humbling to go from an entrepreneur to get back into the workforce as a customer service representative. So I started as a CSR. My friends who are younger than me, my sisters, brothers were already leads and managers during that time, but yet I was entering the workforce as an entry level person from an entrepreneur. So that was a pivot that it was a hard pill to swallow, but I was more than willing to swallow because I needed to pay the bills. It was a question. I also, there was a time when I would ask myself, I kept doing the right thing. I kept reading and reading. I believed in myself. I believed in my dreams. No, I guess the integrity of transitioning is that there are three things that you really want, no, to transition with integrity. It's that there's that firm belief in your potential. Have that. Have that. Oprah Winfrey said this, that her biggest aha moment is when she realized she was a spiritual being. So when you come from a point that you are a child of God, that alone is that peace alone is enough to know that you deserve your dreams. But the next piece is you gotta do the work. You gotta do the work. So the work is, just keep doing the work. So I keep doing the work. I kept growing myself and kept just doing the work without measuring my success against anybody's standards. I had people who told me, oh, no-brainer ang trabaho sa customer service. No? It hurt. You won't get promoted. Suntok sa buwan yan. No? It hurt. No? But I just listened and I just believed in my potential and just kept on keeping on. And then one day, um, you just do what you can, and then kaya nga connecting the dots. And then one day there's an opportunity for a job in Manila, and they interviewed me. And then when I got there, they said, "Hey, we're sending you to the U.S." And I said, "Huh? You're sending me to the U.S.?" And prior to that, I knew that I have the vision board in my room with a Statue of Liberty in it. So imagine that, no? And they were sent, so they and then I call up my honey, they're sending me to the US. Sabi niya, oh, scam ba yan? Kasi sisend ka nila sa US. Di ba? Parang, then I was so grateful. And then, so, I came from the US years back. So, sabi ko, medyo nag-overstay ako doon para magkakaproblema ako. But God truly delivers. So you do your work and then let go and let God. So eventually that trip to the US brought me to New York, where I got to see the Statue of Liberty, which is why in my vision board, and got me everything that I have today. I don't say that I have everything that I have today. It's just that I was able to transition with integrity because, and looking back, and I say this to when you wake up in the morning and say, oh my God, I've been doing all the work that I've been doing. But how come my life has not been moving? you don't see that, no, but you are strengthening the roots from down here, so that way when you start going, when you start getting your dreams, you have enough roots to sustain you through that success. It's like the bamboo tree. Do you know the bamboo tree? When you
Mhm.
plant a bamboo tree, no, you water it, you do everything, you pray for it, you water it. After 1 year, nothing happens. And then you go back and say, I water it, I'll put you in the sunshine, I'll pray over you, I'll dance over you. Nothing happens after 2 years. It's the same thing after 5 years, no? Nothing happens and it frustrates you. Like in our lives, nothing happens and it frustrates you. But do you know, as long as you do the work, keep doing the work. So the bamboo tree just keeps doing the work and standing still and believing in its potential. On the 5th year, the bamboo tree starts growing 3 feet per day until it reaches its maximum potential. Because during the time that when nothing was happening, that was a time that it was internally, inside, it was growing its roots for the roots to be strong enough to hold on for the explosive growth. So that's what, so just transition with so much trust in your potential, do the work, and the third is for things that you cannot control, let go and let God.
That's amazing.
I'm
Yes, Ate.
curious though. Um, how could you deal with any situation we're in? A while ago, you said that um, there are people who would question your decisions, how you deal with situations with your job before. So how are you able to remind yourself that tama yung decision na to, I have to trust myself? Like, how could you keep on reminding yourself that what you're doing is right for you? Kasi sometimes, syempre, when it comes from your own family or even your closest friends, they would always say things that would really hurt you. So how do you deal with that po?
Okay, so first thing, I will answer your question. How do you deal with external factors? So there's only one thing adding that I can share with you. You have no control about what they say. Since you have no control about they say, you just internally keep to yourself and affirm connect with your truth. There's nothing as liberating as connecting to your truth that you are a child of God. Keep reminding yourself during the time that people tell you that that's not for you. Just tell them, just keep telling yourself and going within that I'm a child of God and my dreams deserve me and I deserve my dreams. Now, how do you know you're on the right path? When you have dreams, adding, when your heart sings and your soul is on fire, when you're motivated by that dream, that is God speaking to you. That is the right path, because that is what makes your soul sing. That is what your, you know every time that you're energized about something, it is somehow related to your being, because it energizes you. It is somehow, and that being, is waiting to express itself in physical form, and you have to listen to it. So instead of listen, no, Beethoven was deaf, but he created wonderful music. And that gift of deafness is he couldn't hear people telling him that he could not play music. But he had the energy and the fire within him to play beautiful music. So yeah, be deaf to the world and and sing from within. Yeah.
Thank you so
Wow,
much. But
thank you.
Diba?
sorry.
Any more questions?
Um, this is very interesting. You have a bigger world now because you're more successful and you are technically you're bigger than your old self. You're better than your old self.
Yeah.
How do you manage setbacks?
Well, so setbacks are not negative, Steffi. Always remember this. Setbacks are only temporary unless you make it a choice to make them permanent. But the setbacks bring you opportunities of learning. So do you know there's a story? So I'll tell you the story. There's this child who was born into a very, very wealthy family. No? Every time that he asked for food, they would give him food. Every time that he would ask for clothes, somebody would dress him. Every time that he needed something, people would wait on him hand and foot to be given what he needed. So one time, the gates of his home opened, and he said, "Wow, there's a world out there. Let me step out." So lumabas siya sa gate. Kung lumabas siya sa gate, nabangga siya, tapos namatay siya. Why? But there are a lot of children, mobilized on that street but never died because he has never learned. He has never learned difficulty. He has never learned to be careful. That is, there's always an opportunity for any difficulty. No, you think about the lack in your childhood. You think, I didn't have this, I didn't have that. But that gift brings you that gift of lack during your childhood brings you now the gift of aspiration. The gift of aspiration that, I'll you know dream, bigger dreams. 'Di ba? Yeah. You know, akala nila, no, I was praying and praying and praying, no. I remember I was in Mega Mall, walking one day, and then I went to Mega Mall, and then I said, I couldn't buy a bag. That bag cost about 2,000. I couldn't buy that. And I said, I will never experience this again. So I just believed in myself and did the work. And s- there's breakthrough after breakthrough. Last year, I was able to buy my car in cash. So that
Wow.
story, that story of not being able to that no I had to commute. I had to, people would invite me to lunch because I only had 5,000. I could not go to lunch with them because all I had was 65 pesos for my lunch. So dito na lang ako sa pantry, no. I wasn't no hindi na, I was humble enough to tell them, no, I could only afford lunch in the pantry and I'm sorry. But I kept on keeping on until such time, no. Could only buy lunch. Now I can, afford to buy better lunches, and I was able to buy my car in cash.
That's amazing. I have a question, additional question rather. Since we're talking about personal success and everything that you experience, thank you by the way for sharing. What are the two things you need to manage for personal success?
So the two things that are not unlimited in your life is time. You only have a finite amount of time. You're also not robots to have unlimited energy. So when you know about this, your time is limited and your energy is not unlimited. But these are resources that you need to use in order to succeed, right? So you need to make sure that your time is allotted to high value activities that will take you closer to your dreams, and that your energy can is allotted to activity. You focus your energy on things that will take you closer to your goal. So it's like a choice of, do I play my game today or do I read the book for self improvement? So it's focusing your time and energy on high value tasks and forgoing no short-term gains for long-term success.
I
Diba?
Uh,
am. Ikaw muna, ikaw muna.
Go, Marco.
yeah, go ahead, Steffi. Okay. Yeah, totally agree. I've had that uh, realization when I went out of the country. I said to myself, and I need to manage my time. And I was working as a nurse back then. I need to retire as quickly as I can. I need to retire early. I need
Yeah.
to do things and manage everything, so that I can spend more time with my family. So how can I do this? And yeah, I'm working right now again in another country, and I'm trying to save up as much as I can so that I can spend more time with my kid. But it's really hard, managing time and
Yeah.
managing energy. You really need to be mindful about it. I keep on using mindful again, but you need to be aware of all of these things that are happening in your life, and you have to know your priorities. And
Mm.
I really agree. One that you said about two things that you need to um, manage for your personal success.
Mm. If there's one thing that I can share to you, Marco, you can read on The Five Choices of Extraordinary Productivity by Stephen Covey. It teaches you the Eisenhower time box, where it teaches you how to manage time well. So there's four quadrants of productivity, and it teaches you what quadrant to focus on to get the most. I'm I I'll talk about optimization. It's getting the most out of what you've got. So to you want to make sure that when you spend your time, where you spend your energy, that you'll get the most out of what you've got. That to make sure that this is gonna bring me to somebody, no, to where I'm supposed to be. So it's a Eisenhower time box with the five choices of extraordinary productivity.
The time management matrix, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Um, yes. So, um, despite of the many things that you've been through before you got to where you are now, from a person who could not afford a meal outside of the
Mm,
pantry, or a person who couldn't buy a 2,000 peso bag, from to a person who can buy a car for cash.
right.
Okay.
Mm.
What kept you grounded? And what is your best advice for people like us who are still on the process to becoming a better version of ourselves?
What has kept me grounded all this time is that I know that there's so much for me to grow. And I am not here to just you know acquire things. It's not, yes, I was able to buy the car, but it doesn't define me. Yes, I have investments now. I have successfully invested. So I do stock market. I manage stocks now on my day. So I don't claim to be a very successful trader because I have a mentor. Um, so what grounds you is you need two people in your life, a coach. No? A coach is somebody that will tell you things that you don't want to hear. So I have that. It's people telling you, you're not great at this, you're not great at, then you're grounded. It's people that that hurt you because of feedback, but they're grounding and they keep you humble that you have so much to learn. And and two, you need a mentor. I encourage you to find mentors. Mentors that will take the time to introduce to you new topics, make you learn about life more, so, so that way every learning becomes new wiring in the brain, and every new wiring in the brain creates different actions and different choices. So change happens not because people tell you to. Change happens because of your aha moment. So and when you have those two people, I think you're naturally grounded, because then you know that you're not that good enough yet, and that makes you want to just learn and learn more. And the best grounding factor for me is my spiritual connection to God, because I know that I am very integral in this bigger fabric of life, and my presence is just a dot in a very, very vast creation. And I remind myself that every time I think that I'm the center of the world, I am not. Every time that I feel that my problem is the biggest problem, I am not. That is one thing that you need to be reminded of, that though that you feel that you are the center of the world, you're not. We are just a part and parcel of God's creation, who who was created to made manifest our fullest potential. So again, go back to humility. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth.
Thank you. Any questions so far?
I would just like to say that parang yun nga, when you remind yourself that we are all just little people here in this big world, big wide world,
Yeah.
it it does keep you grounded. And for me, when I experience people like my when I see persons who, for me, I do better than I do, or who I think is more successful, I that it just makes me realize, after hearing everyone's thoughts, that um it's not a race nga. Because we all have contributions in the world, and no matter what effort or where you are now, we still have, it's still that. It doesn't change anything. It doesn't change who you are as a person, because you still have personal dreams, and that person has his own dreams. So parang marirealize mo na lang, bakit pa ako magseselos dito, or why does this have to be a big deal, or why do I have to keep on being so hard on myself when I know that I am a different person from that person. So it just makes me realize lang na, yeah, we're all persons in this world, and we all have our own
Yeah.
efforts and own dreams. So we can reach it all on our own, with any kind of belief that we have, or any kind of um effort. We can do it naman. So yeah, thank you. I just
You're
It's
welcome.
just a realization.
Yep. At your own pace, Mary. We have our own paths to take. So when we realize that our journey is our own, but you also realize that you will have to respect other people's journey because their journey is also unique. But we all aim to live together, to be each other's crutches and help each other contribute to the good of humanity. I think there's an overall bigger purpose living beyond ourselves. That's the ultimate piece to success. No, it's not the acquisition of material gains, but it's being able to live out your purpose and your biggest why. And my biggest why, if you ask me, is that I know people are gifts to me, and for each gift that is given to me, my biggest piece is that when I am gifted with a person, that I make sure that the person feels loved and validated, and motivated to know that there is there is a humanity, there's energy out there that will help them grow to express their fullest possible self. So just that, I'm here to just introduce you to your greatness.
Thank you. I remember I spoke to you a few years ago. I think that was my wedding. You were there, and you mentioned about tough love and
Yeah, tough
how.
love.
Yes, that's right. And now we're talking about how you act with people, and how you take it negatively or positively. And you mentioned that um it's tough love. It can be a form of love, but it's tough love. And maybe because they've been in a different kind of walk in life, that um they don't mean you harm, but maybe it's the way we accept the things that they're trying to tell us, and how we absorb the things that they're trying to share to us.
Very good. Look, people express their love differently, Steffi. Some express their love through words. That are five love languages. Some through through service, some through gifts. Unfortunately, when you're misaligned with how you receive love and give love, no, and people, for example, no, your love language is time, but uh, your partner's love language is words of affirmation. So he doesn't spend time with you, but he affirms your goodness. But you never feel the love because misaligned kayo. Therefore, it's kind of tough to accept. That's what I call tough love, no? Misaligned, but the intentions are there. Love is always it's a universal piece that I'm thinking of you and I validate you and that you are important to me, right? So when you learn about trust, it's all about intentions, right? When the intention is good, no matter how the message is delivered, then go back to the intention, go back to the motivation. As long as the intention is clear that I am here to help, as long as the intention is clear that I'm here to fix, no, one that inspires the greatest trust is intention that is mutually beneficial. One that inspires the greatest trust is intentions that work for the greater good. As long as you have the best interest of that person in mind, whether it's giving love or tough love, I think it all boils down to the best intentions.
That's why it's also been a tip that I've read some place and somewhere, or people also tell me it's good to know what your partner's love language is, so that you could also understand how you could also love them. So it's
Yeah.
actually also a big tip to know it, to know their love.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Mary was talking a while back about feeling insecure, about the success of other people. Sorry if this is a personal question, but I'd like to know more about you. So have you ever been in the different side of the spectrum when you felt unsuccessful or you were insecure of something? um
Yes. Okay.
Like a
So
bounce back, parang ganon.
Oh, parang gano'n. Kasi parang nababanggit na ni Steffi kanina, and then I'm just curious kasi we're talking about success, and I feel odd about all the tips and all of these things that Colleen was saying a while back na ayun na I feel so amazed about it.
my rock bottom might be, with all humility, might not be the rock bottom of others, no. But I think the journey that I had is that I I studied hotel and restaurant management. There's a lot of pivoting done in my life. With hotel and restaurant management, I went to the US to try to study more, and then I left and worked for a while, tried to fix up my papers, but I could not. So I came back to the Philippines and I studied nursing. By the time that I had an opportunity to leave again, the US would not issue me my visa for very personal reasons. No? But one of the reasons was I overstayed my visa there. So then I had to start my career here. So I well, luckily I was one of the top notchers for the board exam. So I was able to, to find an opportunity to become a teacher, no? And what we call a reviewer for the USRN licensure, right? For NCLEX and local RN. But it was successful for a few years. But then what happened is that it dwindled down, right? The enrollment dwindled down. So we had to, again, I had to pivot because the business was no longer successful. Um, we tried, our, we tried our luck with entrepreneurship, no? There was a time that I sold budget meal in UB in Palma as well, and it was just getting by, but um, but it was not enough. So there, no, I had to, uh, you know, reassess and say, is this the right? Is entrepreneurship still the right path for me? Do I keep, trying uh, you know, do I keep trying reviving the review business, although I'm not getting anything out of it, just breaking even? Um, the food business is not really making a lot of money because there's a lot more competition. So one day, I uh, so so I had no savings, I had nothing, I was broke. I had to, again, I guess my biggest piece at the age of 37, I was broke and had nothing while everybody was succeeding in their lives now. What I did was I applied as a customer service representative, and people around me were younger. they were faster in terms of navigation, doing the work. And like I said, it was not an easy path to follow because there was a lot of humbling, and it was very humbling because I had to go from being a boss from now being an entry level worker. So there, I guess. And I moved to Manila when I had this opportunity. I only had 5,000, and I just kept on, I recall I told my boss when I got promoted, I want to thank you for believing in me, because my entry to my company now was my biggest life changing decision, which there was a lot of, I tell you, I applied in different companies, but I was not also taken, so there was a lot of no's before I got the yes.
And so, of course, we have different phases of success. When did you really feel that, oh, this is success?
That's a very tricky question, Marco, because um there is I cannot say that I've reached the pinnacle of success yet, because like you, there is still so much to journey on.
Mhm.
Like it's so success for me, Marco, is not the position, it's not the money in the bank, it's not anything and everything. But when I tell you and I look you in the eye, success is going to bed fulfilled. Success is a series of micro moments wherein you live your life doing your best every single day. And
Mhm.
when you can do that and say that at the end of the day, that is success. That is what success means to me. And my day is best lived in service of others. A part of my day make sure that I add value to the people around me. That I give myself to them in way of service. That everything I am like you. I'm a mentor and a teacher. So with that little, I teach about critical thinking. I teach about 5 choices of extra, or I teach about personal leadership. So each time that somebody tells me, hey, I last week alone, somebody told me, uh, there's a learning session again, and you taught me about critical thinking now, and you taught me about big picture thinking. So instead of going to the gym, I'll stay home because there's a pandemic. So thank you, boss. That's success for me, Marco.
Mhm.
I and much more than the outcome is a process of evolution, that you keep growing and growing and growing each day. The But I do set some personal milestones. No, milestones of what, like this year, the milestones that I've set for myself is to share. No, very this is an very I don't talk about my goals, but it's a book that I'm writing. That's my passion project that I've been working for the past year, that I will launch by February, just for me to be able to speak out my message. No,
Mhm.
um, the second is, like you, I am also working my way towards financial freedom. So I'm also learning about investing. So there, I've set myself a personal goal of an X amount of money. So there, those things.
When did this all start? I mean, your search for success, or maybe this awareness that, I need to chase this. When did you start feeling this and become more aware and becoming more proactive and searching for success?
Very good question. It was in 2007. So when I came back from the US, I was kind of a little bit lost, and I was trying to find the answers to questions, and I needed direction. So I first and then I got gifted with a book, The Master Key. The Master Key practically teaches that what you dream about, you can become. And then uh, after that, it was So part of my journey, so from 2007, it was all about the resonating the resonating truth that was that I so resonating, no, the messages that I got from so to be I will be very from the universe, not God, no, from the universe, is it was more of that we are all that there's that our dreams deserve us. So I would write my goals down. I wrote myself a personal check of $1 million. This is a funny story. So I wrote myself a personal check of $1 million, and then one day my bank gets credited with 1 million pesos. the the universe is so funny. I asked myself, so might be my being would only credit me 1 million pesos, but I asked for it and the universe gave it, but I didn't ask for it to be, to be kept in my bank account. So that was an answered prayer. So that was a resonating belief until so the belief that was so the learnings that I got was just it's more of self belief, it's more building of confidence, it's you connecting to your truth. That was a message for about 5 years. So moving along to 2010, no, maybe no, 2005 7 2012 2013. um when you start meeting different people, then you get getting different messages, right? That is so according, right, two things that will change your life: the books that you read and the people that you associate with. So when you get to so now, because I got to meet other people, then the message of the universe changed from self-belief, self-confidence, from you being able to realize dreams, to personal leadership. So now it was now that it was a different series of messages that I got. It was the 7 habits of highly effective people. It was um the speed of trust from Stephen Covey. It was 5 levels of leadership by John Maxwell. The power of the attitude. So those were the messages that I started to get now. So that now allowed me to be able to be a master in my craft. Then I got promoted. So, di ba, when you build it, it will come. I got the message of leadership and then I got promoted. Now, when I got into leadership now, the messages that came to me were humility and stoicism. So, life answers your questions as the opportunities open up. Because when that success came along, like the promotion, now the messages were coming as humility, as as because probably the messages that were coming to me was, it's now I'm getting the opportunities, I'm getting the wealth, I'm getting the career, the career path. But obviously the universe is teaching me to be humble.
Mm-hmm.
So now the messages that I'm getting is contribution, it's service, it's service. So my goal, the success that so you understand the transition. It was
Yeah.
self-confidence, and then I got to opportunities, and then it's leadership, and then I got promoted. Now it's all about contribution, giving back. Um, and now so I don't know what my next success journey will be.
Mhm.
um so I'm not here to build a brand or to create a name. I'm just here, Marco, to love people and help them journey to be their best. That's it. Very
I
simple.
believe. Yeah, I agree with that term. It's a success journey. The hardest. I'm in a phase right now. I don't know. I mean, if I will consider that I've been through this map of success. But yeah, some of the things that you mentioned, maybe I've experienced that. And now I think I'm in the path where I'm discovering humility and, you know, being as
So the
humble as I
message,
can. Because it's hard
yeah.
for me. I mean, being being a skeptic, being politically active, my views are, you
Mm,
know, politically motivated, and
mm,
that particular value is so hard for me right now. But I'm
mm.
in that journey. I believe I'm working on that with the aid of mindfulness meditation,
Very
and
good.
yeah. So just one last question. Promise,
No,
Steffi.
no worries.
Yeah. So
Whatever.
you said you have to go and search for your mentor. Who do you consider as your mentor?
Well, there's a lot of, like you, Marco, it's a great, it's better that you're resonating with humility now. Because I believe after humility, that's where success comes in, because that's your roots, that's your grounding roots in order for you to sustain success. Because, like I've said, once you've reached success, and then you don't have the foundation to keep it. A lot of millionaires, they lose their money. They get a windfall, but they lose their money because their being cannot keep the money. So what you want, Marco, is to listen to the universe's message, and then because that message is now preparing you. So Harris is your mentor. Great, no. So if you want to learn about humility, please read "Ego is the Enemy" by Ryan Holiday. It teaches, so that's the three phases. It teaches you how to be humble from the start, when you succeed and when you fail. That when you are succeeding, where you're in the competence level, you do not move into arrogance. No, like Napoleon Bonaparte. No, he was so successful, and then he killed so many people, but nothing changed now. They were absolutely at the same level when they were. So the death did not have a lot of meaning. So the victory was empty, right? So what you want to in life is so embrace humility. The meditation is what will help you. Read on "Ego as the Enemy." So when I meditate at night, I echo humility, 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 and I self-correct. When was the time that I was not humble? Because that's the virtue that I'm again solidifying for 2021. It's humility. So my mentor is, apart from the books that I read, I have mentors all across my organization. So I get a lot of mentorship from my senior managers, from my director. I work closely with them. I have mentors from the US, the people that I closely work with. But I do have a stock market mentor. So thank God for him. I do have a partner who when I'm doing something wrong, he'll scribble and let me know. I get feedback from all people. I get feedback from my managers, because I think I have 200 people reporting to me now. So I get feedback from them. I get feedback from all across. So my mentors, Marco, come from everywhere, because I choose to learn something from everybody. But for the new learnings, I learn from the books that I read, and I have a friend who's also a mentor. She owns a very big company, so she's also one person that I look up to. So I get mentorship all across from you guys. I'll learn from you guys.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing. One last question. Um, what is that one question you keep asking yourself to keep you on track?
So this is not mine. This is from Joe Dispenza. What would it look like to live with my highest ideal version of myself?
I'm curious though, why do you ask yourself this question?
So um it provides clarity. So when I meditate in the morning, so this is my what my morning meditation looks like. My meditation in the morning is very intentional about envisioning of who I want to become. So it's envisioning of what thoughts, new thoughts am I gonna think of, what new words am I gonna speak of, what new emotions am I gonna feel, and what new choices am I gonna make. And these are and this should be aligned to my highest version. So when you start your day right, that is like the starter, that is the ignition, that then it's very intentional. You're clear with who you want to be. I always like, what new two values am I gonna live today? And it's humility and temperance. And it no it makes you aware of what your day will go like. So that answers the question, what would I look like living my highest ideal version? So I intentionally want to be kinder. I intentionally want to be more loving. I intentionally just want to serve and add value to the people around me. And then when I go to bed at night, I just ask myself, when was the time that I wasn't living my highest ideal? So it's self-reflection to self-correct. That's
That's very grounding din, no?
it.
Talagang eventually everything that was meant for you will go along your way, and you'll eventually attract what was meant for you if you, I mean, if you are, how do I say this? Mm, eventually everything will, it's like it's falling into pieces day
Mm,
by day, day by day, as long as you keep on moving forward.
yeah, it is true. The messages that are coming to me now is more of it's team dynamics, it's business, it's strategic management. I think right now the universe is probably paving my path. I don't know to where. I'm curious because there's a lot of messages of team dynamics. I think the universe is teaching me to on how to build stronger teams. It's
Mhm.
more about contribution. Now I'd love to see more Filipinos thinking better so that way they can intentionally not to be political about it, but they can intentionally really um make sure that their day-to-day decisions will contribute to the growth of the country. Imagine Marco, Mary, and Steph. Imagine 100 million Filipinos thinking together and just thinking about the best of this country. Where would that take us? Right?
Right.
So Lee Kuan Yew, no, the Singapore is a very small country, right? They don't have the
Mhm.
vast resources that we have, but they're very successful because Lee Kuan Yew invested in the education. Sabi ni Lee Kuan Yew, so we don't have a lot of resources, but I know my resource will be the people. Will build on the people. Will educate the people really well, so that way they'll be the best global workers. That's why there's a lot more millionaires in Singapore. So I don't aim to change the world. I just aim to just speak to Filipinos and encourage them to come together. Hey, there's we're so blessed with a great country. Let's make it great by synergizing together, thinking correctly. Let's start with the values and the virtues, and let's grow together and do the right thing and make the Filipinos the number one. Dream ko yan. Botohin niyo ako, like and subscribe.
Same. I think everyone naman wants a country where they're treated well. Everyone wants to be in a country where they feel safe. They
Mm,
everything they want, every right is respected, everything they need is given. It's just so simple. We
mm.
just all want the same thing. And I guess it's just siguro pride or people taking
Ego.
advantage of another.
Mhm.
Yes.
Ego
So
is the enemy.
yeah, in everything talaga. Even in politics.
Mm,
Sorry, but I guess ang daming stop sa mga tao ngayon. I think
mm,
also then yung ego, because when you think about it, there are Filipinos who decides it's their choice to not learn or to educate themselves because they think that wala lang, it's not it won't be worth it because they think they're
Mm-mm.
just small people, and maybe
Mm-hmm.
trying
Yeah.
to educate themselves won't even go somewhere because they think that
Mm.
hanggang dito lang kami. But
Mm-hmm.
because of some other people's ego saying that, they're just um no, they're just simple people. Who cares about them? Let's focus on the rich. Let's focus on them instead. Maybe because of them, the country would be better. So, I guess yun nga, nag-iiba yung mga perspective ng mga tao. And I think, yeah, it all boils down to their ego. It all boils down to how they see themselves. If every Filipino sees themselves as someone worthy of being treated well and their rights being respected, then I guess everyone would come as one and demand for better governance. And I guess if the people's government would see that, then they would also be driven with what is the right kind of decision for everyone.
Yeah. So we,
Yeah.
it's unfortunate. I echo your, what you said, Mary, that, there's a division, right now. But like I said, you have two things that you need to focus on, your time and energy,
Mm-hmm.
and control it to where it will add value to you. So you don't aim to change the world, you just aim to grow yourself, because there's a very good quote from Marian Williamson: as you let your own light shine, you unconsciously permit other people to do the same. So you do the internal work and they see you shine, you allow them now the opportunity to let their own light shine just by growing yourself.
Yes, I
Right.
agree. I agree.
Any more?
Okay. And any more? No more? Ate, in behalf of the Adobo Collection podcast, we are a collective of 5 people, but as of the moment, ako, si Marco, at si Mary, we are the most active ones. We would like to thank you very much for participating in this episode. We are very, very grateful. And ako, for once, you are my mentor. So I had been learning a lot from you ever
Thank
since.
you.
But for you to express and to voice out and to join our episode today, I think that this episode will definitely help a lot of people. It will raise awareness to a lot of people and it will touch lives. Like unimaginably a lot of lives, a lot of listeners.
Yep. So, I will leave you with a story, It's the BTS story. So you get 7 people who come from very simple backgrounds, but they're able to take the world by a storm.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody says it's because of their humility. No, they're grounded. They're so grounded by humility that they know na people are inviting them to just go independent, but they know that synergy is what made them possible to succeed. No, so um, the story is you will never succeed on your own. That's why you have people around you to, you have the people around you to help you grow. So don't be egotistical about success, that yeah, I can do it on my own. You cannot.
Mm-hmm.
You have a lot to learn, so be led, be guided, submit and obey, no, with the trustworthy people around you. Next is, apart from their humility, they work hard, no. um you keep mastering your craft. I keep doing your best. One life hack is read on Deep Work by Cal Newport. It will change your productivity and make 3 hours, you're able to do it in 1 hour. So those things, no, try to master your craft, find ways to hack into your brain's potential. Keep doing your best in everything that you do, in your studies, in your teaching, and not worrying about the credit or the outcomes or whether you're getting paid. Just keep doing your best. There is a balancing in this world that you will be rewarded. I guarantee you. No, and they were the BTS were mistreated so many times, but they kept their humility, their non-ego driven. So no matter what people say about you, just keep on keeping on and do the work. But instead of wallowing in self-pity, get back out there and just do the work, no? Instead of crying, just do the work, do the actual work, keep doing and mastering your craft, no? That's why they did, no matter how much people tell them that they were not good enough, they just practice and practice and practice and practice daily. But the best thing is, they're not known because of their pretty boy looks, or their songs, no, and their dance, but they're more known for their message and their purpose. They're living a purpose bigger than themselves. That's why they're resonating with so many people. When you launch Adobo Talks, maybe the intention was to monetize it, but now you can shift your intention to a greater energy of how can Adobo Talks, help more people. No, how can Adobo Talks add value to more people? How can I now contribute to society, to the goodness of society? So that's a conversation. You start living your purpose. Find ways to get out thinking of yourself, but think about how you can make uh, the world around you better. And the miracle happens. They got, and they're number one in 71 countries, or hitting the billboard after billboard. When you do that, when you're humble, you do the work without worrying about whether you're paid enough or you're not, just do the work. Find a way to contribute to others. The rewards are when you let go and let the universe take over, Marco. See what the miracle happened. If God and the universe can get the seven people and you know take the world by storm, I'm sure that you will have your place under the sun. I so love BTS.
Me
Life is
too.
like a dynamite. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
having me. And I hope, Marco, to close, did I add value to you today?
Yes, yes. Thank
Okay. Thank
you.
you. Did
I,
you learn a lot, Mary?
a lot. I hope this won't be the last time, ate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
More,
Yeah.
Yeah.
more.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited to work with you in the future. So sabi ko nga kay Steffi kanina, if you if I can collaborate with you in future works, please let me know. It is humbling to get to work with great minds, and maybe if we synergize as from time to time, maybe you might not think that it will affect the world, but let's try to just do it and bring our energies together. If seven can take the world, maybe six can do it together. Yeah,
Mm.
diba? You invite
Cute,
me in the
cute.
future.
Yes, yes,
Thank
ate,
you.
definitely. Thank you.
Thank you so much po.
Bye,
Stay
Marco, Mary,
safe, ate.
and yeah. And there is so much love for each of you. Bye bye.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Bye-bye
I still
po.
need your love.
That ends our flavorful Adobo Collection episode. Thank you for joining us today. We hope that you've learned and enjoyed as much as we did. Stay safe and see you on our next episode.